And as we stagger into day 3 of the Battle of Bangalore, this is the Titus and Sergio Variety Hour podcast. I'm Sergio Paradise, and here he is, the undisputed president of the Mitch Marsh fan club. It's Titus O'Reilly.
Well, I'm not alone. It's a big club.
It is. Well, I reckon, and we'll get to these in due course, but amongst our listeners' questions this week, I reckon Mitch Marsh had more than just about any subject that we've ever brought up before.
Well, I think partly the timing, because we call for questions pretty much within, by pure, not planned, because we do it about a bit after 8 every Sunday night. I call for questions, and I think about 5 minutes before Marsh had gone out for a duck.
Yeah. As soon as I wasn't watching at the time, but I saw on Twitter or on the news, Mitch Marsh out for a duck. He was extremely unlucky, and I thought, oh, yeah, he always is, isn't he? But and I thought, that'll go pretty well. The old Mitch Marsh going for a duck.
Well,
we'll get some
a lot of
reaction to
people
that.
were saying that. They were saying, it was anyone would have gone out to that ball. And I was like, but the thing is, Mitch has got an ability to go out to good or bad balls. He's so versatile. He can go out in almost any situation.
That's why he gets selected, for his versatility and able to handle, all circumstances equally badly.
Now, before we get to all your questions about Mitch Marsh,
because there are a few,
and I couldn't include all of them because one it was just purely going to be, it would be a 3-hour show of just people saying similar themes about Mitch Marsh. And it will probably go on over that fine line of we always tread on it between bullying and just having a laugh, which is often a bit too close. So we didn't put all of them in. But before we get started, we should mention that next week, public holiday.
Yes, next Monday, and look, let's face it.
Is it everywhere or just Victoria?
I think it's Victoria only because
it's Labor Day.
It's the Moomba weekend. So and let's face it.
Honouring women giving birth.
Yes.
I think that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, remember someone got upset that they thought it was about the Labor Party? I can't remember who it was. Some politician.
Labor Day it used to be.
Yeah, but it's about honouring, the Labor
movement,
an 8-hour day and all that sort of. But someone was really upset about it. Like, it's not quite the same thing. But it means us lazy Victorians have another public holiday.
Exactly. And look, let's be honest. Ever since the other day they've cut our penalty rates, I ain't working next Monday.
What, on the podcast for free?
On the podcast, if they're gonna take 50% off nothing.
Yeah, we get double. We still get penalty.
We get triple time.
We get triple time of 0.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's worth working. But we're going to be doing Tuesday.
We'll do Tuesday next week instead.
And we'll be doing Thursday as
because Monday we both have to go and watch the Moomba parade.
We're in the Moomba parade.
What's the floats? Next year, can we get a Titus and Serge float?
We should be king and queen. Mick Malthouse was king of Moomba,
2012, I think he was. And
because he's such a joyous personality.
And can you remember who was the queen that year?
No.
Ruby Rose.
Oh.
There's a couple for you. if they can be king and queen, you and I can do it next year. Just on the back of a ute with a bottle of gin. That'll do us.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
But you get to wear the mayoral robes.
Oh,
I'll carry your scepter.
I'd like to be the queen.
Okay, you can dress in drag then. We'll see if it coincides with our Mad Monday.
Because pretty much every comedy sports program resorts to men dressing in drag at some point.
It is,
and that's hilarious.
Of course, it's standard Australian sporting comedy.
Have the Footy Show ever done a end of year grand final edition without men in drag?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, it's pretty much. Their greatest tradition.
Yeah, I remember I put that together one year, the end of year.
Oh, did you?
The players' review.
What year was that?
Oh, that's going back now. It's going way back. But
who were the players then?
Oh, they actually did. The whole theme was to relive great moments from the 80s. So they got back all the players from the 80s involved. Mark Yates and Dermot Brereton. They recreated the run through at the centre bounce.
Right.
I
think I vaguely remember
Jeff Edelston and Warwick Capper getting out of a pink helicopter. And I remember at the rehearsal, old Dr. Jeff Edelston got his nose out of joint. He said, "There never was a pink helicopter. There wasn't a pink helicopter." I was, "Jeff, it doesn't really matter. It's just entertainment. But we had all
because there was a pink Ferrari.
Yeah, there was a pink Ferrari. Oh, we had all sorts of players.
The Ferrari was pink, all right.
Yeah, but not the chopper.
That's when you know just life is ridiculous when you're living in that bubble where that's something that upsets you.
Oh, I know, and not only did that upset him, he rubbed everyone the wrong way, and one of the production assistants deliberately omitted to give him a ticket to the after party, which he wasn't happy about. So old Dr. Jeff, but yeah,
he did get a ticket to the Carlton coaching box.
He did, but yeah, just in answer to that, we had all the 80s players and of course the current players doing the player review. Yeah. But I think it was Sam Newman who dressed in drag.
Oh, great!
Either him or.
Well, he's a big supporter of women, so.
Well, he is, and he didn't mind getting dressed up like that. But yeah, those were the days.
Now, so next Tuesday we really went off on a tangent from Labor Day there.
Yeah, how did that start?
Well, we were on the Moomba.
We want our own float.
Anyway, we want our own float. Most people around the country are going, "What's Moomba?"
Yeah,
which is a little festival in Melbourne. That's
I think
it's not great.
I think it's for an old Indigenous word saying "let's get together and get pissed in a park somewhere and
I think it's
more, fight someone.
Let's have a really lame festival. It's an Indigenous word for lame.
Yes, it is. It is not just festival, a lame march.
Lame white people marching.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
Now, we want to thank our supporters.
We do.
A bunch of people signed on last week, which was great. If you haven't signed on, our supporters make this happen, make us able to do this, and a bunch of other stuff we got planned.
It enables us to pay ourselves triple time. On nothing, week in, week out.
But it does help us a lot, so thank you. And we're very keen to sort of try and stay independent. And a few people have said that to me because one of the things is occasionally when I've written stuff, I've had to, put it goes behind paywall or something like that, and people then get upset with me and say, I don't want to, I don't want to pay for something.
No, and if we stay independent with the podcast, we can say basically whatever we want without being told what to say and what not to say.
That's right, which our experiences of working with the media normally is they don't like us to say whatever we want to say.
And here comes the Foo Fighters.
So, followed by an hour of ads. So if you'd like to support us, go to TitusO'Reilly.com. There's a supporter section there. You can donate. There's a variety of different amounts you can sort of sign on for. And you do get, supporters get stuff. There are benefits. Membership has its privileges. Now, getting back to the Australian test. Now, the Australians are doing okay. This test, I mean, seeing Nathan Lyon take 8-4 was a pretty great day.
When you think about it, the first two tests, between Nathan Lyon and Steve O'Keefe, in 4 days of cricket between them, they've taken 20 wickets for 120.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just... And of those 20 wicket-taking balls, not one of them turned more than about half an inch, I reckon. It's just... It's been the most bizarre series I think I've ever seen so far.
Well, it seems like a few of the Indians, the Aussies, are really in their heads. Yeah,
or it was, Kohli and Steve Smith were in each other's faces yesterday.
Yeah.
And there actually seems to be more bad blood in this than there is normally between, the Australians get into the Poms and South Africans, they like to give it as good as they get. Australia and India never seems to get to that.
They've had a few in the past, but
but they're right into each other at the moment.
Did you see Renshaw just kept smiling? He just thought it was funny, which is the best way to react.
It is. You could tell that.
It's the thing with your mates. You never want to let them see what actually upsets you.
No.
Because that's what they'll just do to you to the end of time. And they're your mates, let alone your competitors on the field. So there's just smiling and laughing at it. Is kind of... Renshaw just... batted forever. I think it was like 4 hours. He was at the
he's
crease.
Come from nowhere, Renshaw, but he's sort of he's cemented his spot pretty much.
Well, he just
as
doesn't
much as
go
you can
out
these days.
It was absolutely amazing how he's in no rush, which is rare for young players who are used to playing T20.
Exactly. He may not be the ideal T20 player, but it's like it's a novelty now to find a young batsman who can bat with a bit of patience.
Yeah.
It used to be one of the first things you learn
and
as
on that
an opening
pitch,
batsman.
you had to bat that way.
Yeah, of course.
There was no alternate.
And that's why old Davey Warner was, he made 30-odd, I think, yesterday, but he's never made a test century in India. And I reckon it's mainly because
he's got no attention span.
He's short attention span. It's either hit it for 6 or he gets out. And that works on Australian wickets, but he struggles over there.
A few people have a few questions I got were regarding him being a flat track bully.
Yeah.
Which might be a bit unfair.
I think you could just drop the flat track there. He's just a bully.
Now, Mitch Marsh, of course.
Yes.
Did go out for a duck. Now, a lot of people were saying it was an impossible ball to play.
Well, it kept very low, but still, it was on the stumps. So it's still,
you got some bat on it.
It's still not that hard to jag your bat down and stop it hitting the stumps. Even though
that's
it didn't
the thing
bounce
to me. Like,
high.
it was an incredibly hard ball, but the idea it was mission impossible is not quite true.
No, exactly.
This is like when the New Zealanders still whinge about not being able to hit a 6 off an underarm ball.
Yeah, it might be a little bit different.
I always point that out to New Zealanders.
Oh,
You had your chance.
That.
It was legal. You had your chance.
Yeah.
And why leave it to the last minute anyway? It's like people who leave homework to the last minute and then complain,
cramming before exams.
It's like you left,
Yeah.
It was a legal ball. Stop complaining about it all these years later. New Zealanders had their chance to join Australia and chose not to. Be their own little, I was going to say country, but whatever it is.
Don't get me started on New Zealand.
You don't even like Australia. There's like about there's 2 places in Australia I know you like.
What are they?
Well, you like Sydney. For the weekend.
Yeah, Sydney is a great place to visit. I couldn't live there.
And then really Melbourne. And even that only
And Melbourne, basically south of the Yarra. Yeah. I occasionally cross it to, do things like this, for example.
Everything else is...
everything else is pretty much south of the Yarra or the members' dining group.
Serge picks on us, in Adelaide. They're actually not special. It's you don't like anywhere.
Yeah, it's not that I dislike particular places.
Do you like India?
Never been to India.
But that's never stopped anyone before from having an opinion.
I'll put it this way. I've never been to India and I have absolutely no desire to start now.
I like how you're expanding. Like now you like to annoy billions of people at once instead of smaller populaces.
I do like Los Angeles and New York.
Oh, there you are.
And New Orleans.
I don't like LA. LA's too smoggy.
Oh, yeah. It's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah. Well, last time I was there, it's like you might as well. It's like where they're going to play the Port Adelaide Suns game. Now, getting to our questions on Mitch Marsh, it's fair to say not a lot of support on social media.
No.
JJ Smith said, what is the worst selection result between M. Marsh being selected for Australia again or Donald Trump for American president? It's a close run thing, although Marsh doesn't get near nuclear codes.
No, that's true.
So
he's not as insane on Twitter either, Mitch Marsh. I'm not even sure if he's on Twitter.
But the thing
Mitch Marsh, probably a good thing for him that he's not.
If you say to me what's more important to you, Australia winning tests, which Mitch Marsh jeopardises, or America going down the drain, much care more about the Australian test team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, I thought you were going to say Australia losing a test match or America starting a nuclear conflagration that destroys most of humanity.
Yeah.
You stick with the test team. It's far more important.
Far more important. We're pretty far removed from the worst of it.
Yeah. You haven't seen On the Beach, that movie?
Yeah. Ava Gardner.
Yeah.
God, we're really showing our age there. What year was that? That was like one of the first movies ever.
That was in the late 1940s, I think they made that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
I think.
And she hated.
I was an extra.
She hated Australia too.
She did too.
So she said the best place to film an end of the world, movie
was Melbourne. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good. Good on you, Ava.
You and her would get along well, not liking places. C. Tips wrote in, is Mitch Marsh the Don Bradman of getting out?
Gee, that's
harsh.
That is harsh.
That is harsh and accurate.
It is. I mean, I was going to say it's harsh and unfair, but that's okay.
You've come to the right podcast. Mark Moose Smith.
Yeah, good on you, Moose. You reckon Moose, that's his nickname at the cricket club?
Well, I kind of hope Moose, that I'm fine with a nickname. I think that's a great nickname. I hope it wasn't the worst nicknames, though, are ones that people give themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I always got told, and I don't know if it's true, so I'm happy to be corrected if this is wrong, but I was told Dean Robinson from Essendon, his nickname was the Weapon. Yeah, and I was always told
I heard this too.
It was self-given.
Yeah, you just can't come at that. It was like on Seinfeld when George Costanza wanted to call himself T-Bone. And everyone.
So the only nickname
you can't give yourself a nickname.
The only nickname you can give yourself if it's it's insulting you, and that's the joke.
If it's self-deprecating.
If it's just
not if it's pumping yourself up.
No, you can't call yourself the Weapon.
No,
yourself.
No.
But I'm hoping, Moose, that it's either an actual name or someone gave it to you.
Well, yeah, it's probably not his actual middle name, Mark Moose Smythe.
You don't think so?
No, probably not. But what's Moose got to say anyway?
He said, "How is Coley the best batsman in the world when he doesn't use his bat?"
Good point. He's getting it the way Coley was dismissed by O'Keefe in the first innings.
Well, I've never heard the phrase "shouldering arms" more. Not since I fought in the Napoleonic Wars.
and when does anyone shoulder arms to a spinner, to an off spin? You just don't.
This has really put to lie the idea that the Indians are good at playing spin.
And that Coley's is the best batsman in the world. It was a shocking.
I was hoping Steve Smith would go on and score another ton yesterday just to put the daylight between them both.
Yeah.
But
no, he couldn't get amongst it yesterday.
Adam Brown wrote, "What is lower, the bounce of the ball that trapped Marsh, LBW, or his chances of succeeding at number 6? Are we getting a flavour of the mood of the meeting?
There's definitely a common theme running through these, isn't there?
It's just now this one's good. Guy Incognito wrote, "Who's the more disappointing sibling, Mitch Marsh for his performance or Mark Waugh for his selection of Mitch Marsh?" And straight after is the best thing about how conflicted everyone is in media these days. Remember Marsh went out on I think it was the last ball of the session.
Yeah,
so they were all saying, the commentators are saying, we just need to get through this session, and with these two intact, and they'll be in good spot. And then lo and behold,
bang,
last ball. So straight away on Foxtel, it cuts to
Mark Waugh.
Mark Waugh's part of the panel, who's also the selector that keeps. And straight away, Mark Waugh says, "Gee, he was unlucky to go out to that."
Yeah,
it's like, well, really, since he's always unlucky when you're...
He is the unluckiest batsman or cricketer in Australian history, Mitch Marsh.
I wish people put down...
On one hand, he's lucky that he gets selected, but every time he's lucky enough to be selected, he's incredibly unlucky once he walks out to the pitch.
I wish throughout my career, people had put down my incompetence to a lack of luck.
Lack of luck, rather than just lack,
but it didn't happen
lack
that
of
way.
ability.
Hence my ability to do a podcast in the middle of the day. Barry.
Now there's
the man so nice they named him twice.
Old double barrel Baz.
Baz. He wrote, and I like this, Michael Clark suggested that one batting strategy the Australians could apply is going for sneaky twos. Was that what Matt Ranshaw's plan at Pune was?
No,
Michael Clark's commentary is just... I know there's a regular theme on this podcast, but
he's just
going through another day of it yesterday. It was a long grind out on the pitch for the batsman, and I felt for us in the commentary.
I was about to say it's a long grind for viewers too, not just the cricket, but the...
He's so bad he makes me excited when Warney comes back on.
Well, he's so bad that he was a genuine walk-up start for the Channel 9 commentary team.
The fact he's the one they pick is amazing. Apparently his book sold terribly compared to Ponting and all that, and that's because no one likes him.
About 40 or 50,000 copies shy of Ricky Ponting. And that's a lot.
Next week we'll be giving away 40,000 copies.
We got boxes of them here.
And my house is built out of them. Now, one of the things that happened last week, just after I think we did our last podcast with Trevor Marmalade, who we should thank for coming on.
Yeah, Trevor was great last week, and he's, as he said...
Good to see him after, and, you're mates with him, but I haven't seen him since Footy Show days.
Since the Footy Show, no, he's still getting around, still one of the funniest men ever, and it was good that he came on the old pod last week.
Just shows you the high-level guests we can get
here.
Yeah,
exactly.
If people want to let us know what guests they'd like us to get on...
Yeah.
Or if don't say Mitch Marsh or James Hird.
and
I can just see it. There's going to be a.
If you do happen to be a highfalutin sports person or entertainment figure, get in touch. We'd love to talk to you.
Have you got a book to promote?
Yeah, you got a book to promote.
That's good. The only guest that ever
Angela
do anything.
Pipos, normally she wouldn't return our calls.
I still get.
She wanted to flog her book.
I've still got people sending me messages of how much they liked that one. Which was good. Now, after we had Trevor on, Kyrgios had defeated Djokovic.
I actually watched this second set.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was late Thursday afternoon, and
were you being held hostage?
I was flicking around, and I thought, geez, I reckon Kyrgios was playing Djokovic today.
Yeah.
I'll see how he went, thinking they'll tell us. But it was halfway through the match, and I'll tell you what. For the first time ever, I was barracking for Kyrgios.
Really?
Yeah, I thought this will be a big win for him.
That's un-Australian of you.
But I've got to say, Novak Djokovic...
Well, since Wimbledon last year, he's on the biggest free fall you've ever seen. That's part of the thing that made it less impressive by Kyrgios.
But the last game of the match against Kyrgios the other night, Djokovic, he was channeling Bernard Tomic. He didn't even have a crack. He hit 3 balls straight out, and he looked 2 were wide and 1 into the net.
Yeah,
and he just looked like he couldn't be bothered. He just wanted to get it over with and off the court.
Was it too hot?
Yeah, I think it was unbearably hot in Acapulco. But then the final point, he's hit the ball down the middle, and Kyrgios has gone for the pass, and he just stood there and watched it go past. I thought, gee, Novak, but he's turned into Tomic. It was a very unusual thing to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's obviously got a problem somewhere in the Djokovic camp.
I don't know. He's not happy.
But then Nick Kyrgios, of course, then he went out. He got beaten in the next match straight away.
The very next match, he if he'd won, he'd go on to play Nadal, but instead he lost to American Sam Querrey, who's ranked 40 in the world.
Yeah, Sam Querrey's not much.
He goes from beating Djokovic to losing to old Sam.
Yeah, so then he reverted back to type. Of course.
Just not really consistent, is he?
No.
But this is just a few people on Twitter were saying, when he beat Djokovic, this is a message to all the haters. And it's like, the reason everyone hates him so much is because he is so good.
Well, that's right.
Thing.
We've said this a million times.
If he wasn't very good and carried on like that,
no
one would either notice or they'd just say, "What a."
He served so well in this match against Djokovic the other day, and he was just the few mistakes he made. He was trying to do stupid drop shots that just weren't working.
Yeah.
But once he worked that out that wasn't working, he went back to just.
Has he got a coach yet?
No, I don't think he's got a coach. I don't think.
Because he said
who would be a good coach for him? Mick Malthouse. They'd get on well, wouldn't they?
They'd have a lot in common.
Couldn't you see Mick sitting there in the players' box with a little Nike cap on his head?
Imagine those two clashing. I'd pay to see that.
Oh, I'd love to see it. It doesn't matter.
Because Mick would swear back.
Yeah.
That would be the best. Remember when in the Australian Open, Kyrgios was having a go at his players' box?
Yeah.
It was your idea.
Yeah, it was your fault.
Yeah. Imagine Mick would have jumped onto the court. Grabbed him.
Yeah.
Listen here.
I may know nothing about tennis, son, but I'm not putting up with that shit.
Look how many premiership cups have you coached?
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Look.
And then there could be a succession plan because Mick wouldn't last long with Kyrgios.
That's right. You got to have a succession plan. So, no, that was good fun. Now, talking of things that
you told me about this yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. I read this,
and if I almost fell off my chair.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was lying on the couch watching cricket, so I couldn't fall any further. Really. Now, it looks like that Danny Green and Anthony Mundine are going a long way along in finalising a third fight.
So this is a rematch of the rematch.
This is a rematch of the rematch.
Really?
And it's going to take place probably late November, early December, in between footy finishing and cricket.
Does anyone care? Remember
Mundine was going to launch an appeal.
Yeah.
He just... It's a bit like a Stephen Dank appeal. He just didn't even look. Well,
couldn't be bothered.
Dank didn't show up, but at the same time,
Mundine didn't.
Well, he was going to appeal the boxing throws against the judge.
Yeah.
He also said he had all the evidence to clear the SM34. Anyway, he just didn't lodge the appeal.
But so they're seriously talking about a third.
Yeah, that's apparently this will
be like two old blokes jousting on a pair of motorised scooters.
What I just cannot believe that this does. Like, in fairness to both of them, if you're going to get 14 million each or whatever it was that they got fighting,
I don't blame them for doing it.
They can sell out, or I don't know if it was a sellout, but they had a lot of like packed Adelaide Oval, huge subscribe. People obviously want to see it. That's the thing I don't understand. People want to see this.
I mean, we said for the last match that there's no way known we would do it, but obviously thousands of people paid $65 to watch this fight, and but of those people who did pay last time, how many do you reckon will back up again the third?
Well, but
there'll be enough, I guess.
Even if it's half, they're going to make millions of dollars.
14 million, even if it's 4 million, a couple each, they'd still do it again.
You know, when people tell me that the cost of living is too high, I'm going to point to the fact that people can still afford Anthony Green, Mundine, Danny Green fights, and say, you know, that's your best argument against, you know, cost of living arguments.
Correct.
Burn and Salt came out and said Australians can't afford houses because they have too much avocado on toast. I say it's because they're buying Green Mundine.
Too much
pay-per-views.
Too much pay-per-views, yeah.
Because if you can afford that, don't complain to me.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Here's something that we should think about.
Yeah.
What about if we approach Foxtel and see if you and I fight each other, 15 rounds, Adelaide Oval?
You and I aren't going 15 rounds.
Even
if neither of us lands a blow, we'd both be collapsed.
After about a minute and a half. But pay-per-view.
No one would watch it.
Well, yeah, maybe it wouldn't be $14 million each, but we're thinking about.
It'd be lucky. We'd be in debt.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's something to look forward to.
So what are you saying? After the footy season, but before the cricket season? They're looking to have another
one, yeah.
Oh, turn it up.
It's just madness. This is when you realise, you know, everyone in life kind of goes along thinking you're normal and people think similar to you. It's the mistake we all make.
Yes.
And then something like this happens, like there's, you know, that makes millions of dollars and people buy it. And you go, I guess I'm not like most people. I guess, you know, a lot of us aren't. Like, it's a lot different. So another story came out last week was that Essendon,
you were just about the first one onto this.
I know, and Essendon, I don't know if it was in response to me, but Essendon had to put out, the Herald Sun actually broke the story that Essendon have put up the cost of seats, not all seats, but to a lot of them, the reserve seats to the Anzac Day clash against Collingwood. Some of them up by 50%. So some that were $30 reserve seats are going to be $60 this year. Now, they've come out quickly and pointed out if you're an Essendon member, there's no increase. No increase. So members are looked after. Because I made the point, you know, way to thank your fans who stuck by you and basically bought 2 seasons worth of tickets and memberships and everything that counted for nothing.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm a member, you're a member, you know, of our teams.
Yes.
You'd be a member, but not everyone can afford a membership. Some people live in the state and might come down for this year. So, and I know there are some general admission tickets that are still $25, but they're very
hard
and
to
Essendon
get,
came out and said that and said,
not great
hang
seats.
on, but they're not great seats and they're not. Yeah. So basically, it is put up the price. Now,
is this dynamic ticketing?
Yeah. Well, it's what the AFL have done. Remember, AFL tried to do. It wasn't called dynamic ticketing. It was called something else they originally called it.
Yeah.
And that was where the AFL had the ability to put prices up or down, depending on how popular it is.
Yeah.
Which, the thing about this...
never really kicked on that, did it?
Well, it was so hated that what they did is they redid it and changed it so they put it in the club's hands to decide. So they let the clubs be the bad guys.
Yeah, the clubs will
now,
cop the blame.
Essendon aren't alone here. A bunch of other clubs have also jacked up their prices.
I think Western Bulldogs have too, because all of a sudden, you know, from being the underdogs that nobody wants to go watch the Bulldogs to now they're the premiers, they're strutting around.
Yeah.
They're jacking up their prices, which, I don't know, Footscray, you want to be careful there. You don't want to alienate your Western suburban fans.
The Essendon supporters is there's a lot of Essendon supporters who have really stuck by the club.
Oh, yeah, just
Like, the fact they're still Essendon supporters is amazing. Like, and put their hard-earned in. And now a lot of them are members, so I get that. But then some of them, not everyone can afford or can be a member. And so for them, this might have been their one time to go see the team. It's doubled in price for
I actually know of some friends of mine who are from interstate. They come down and they're Essendon supporters. They live in Sydney.
Yeah.
They actually come down once a year for the Anzac Day game. Now, okay, they can probably, if you're going to fly down...
they're friends of yours, they'd be rich.
They can afford to do so, of course, pay the extra. But as you say, there's plenty of people who wouldn't go to too many games but would want to go to the Anzac Day game. And, might be getting out of whack now. Well, $60 is a lot for see a game of footy.
Well, it's all just starting to go... So there's seats on level 4 that were $40, now going to cost $60.
And then level 4
at the MCG.
Talking, right up the top, right up the back.
Right up high. So it's pretty, there's some pretty high prices there.
Yeah, so how much are they, say, level 2, which is, your perfect seats, generally?
Yeah, the best sort of seats.
What are they, $75, $100?
I think they're more like a couple hundred, some of them,
really?
if you get reserved.
Jesus.
It's expensive business.
It is.
No grassroots fans allowed in. Well, the best way to become a member, if you can afford to, and you go regularly enough and all
exactly.
that.
Or an MCC member where you don't even have to worry about that sort of thing.
Of course, but we're talking about normal people.
Yeah, and there isn't a 25-year waiting list.
It's a long waiting list. It's still very long. Now, interesting news that came out this week, Serge.
Yeah.
The NFL are having their combine, which the AFL have picked up now, and this is where they get all the players that are going to enter the draft, and they put them through a series of laboratory tests to see
speed,
to get all their stats,
fitness, strength, all that sort of stuff.
So they have drills, they have sprints, they have they
vertical leap, all that sort of stuff.
So it's a way for all the clubs to, as well as have seen them play in college and etc. They get to actually measure and record some of these things, and kind of still get who they pick wrong.
Yeah.
But have some data why they picked them. But one of the interesting things is there's a wide receiver who's entering the draft this year that's had quite a bit of media about him. His name's John Ross, and he's been known... JR. And he's been known as being incredibly quick.
Or generally, most wide receivers in NFL are sprinters.
That's right, and he's been known to be, incredibly fast. Focus on speed doesn't always work because Jerry Rice wasn't the fastest player. He's the greatest wide receiver
of all time.
So it doesn't always work that way. Now, there was a lot
Jimmy Toumpas was pretty quick too at the combine.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Poor Jimmy.
There is a fine line between joking and trolling, isn't there?
Well, there is, but also I actually like, and I feel the same with the Marshes, and I feel like with Jimmy Toumpas a bit, less so since he's actually moved to another club. But I actually would like, nothing would please me more if Mitch Marsh approved us all wrong.
Really?
Oh, it'd be great.
What did he come out and made 200 in the next test?
Yeah.
Or the second innings.
And went on to be a great player. Because that's selfishly, it's good for us. But it's kind of, you the thing that frustrates you about him is when they're just, he's just something.
You always feel a bit guilty when you constantly doing jokes at their expense and they do just disappear and never kick on.
Yeah, but then I feel that, we were right. The smug satisfaction
you were validated in your opinion.
That comes from being right, sitting on the sidelines doing nothing.
Just lying on a couch with no sporting ability whatsoever.
Which is the core of essence of being a sports fan.
Right, exactly.
Now, John Ross, anyway.
Yeah, what's his claim to fame?
There was a lot of talk about could he break Chris Johnson, who's a running back, who played in for Tennessee for a long time.
Right.
And he had a record of running the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, they do that.
They run over there.
Yeah, which is about 37 metres, probably.
Who knows? I don't understand that. Why? I'm not going to catch up with the Americans and their antiquated metrics.
Well, it's actually
imperial system.
Yeah, we've got the metrics.
Anyway, Chris Johnson ran 4.24. Now, one of the things in the hype around all this is before John Ross ran this thing is Adidas.
Right.
the shoe and sporting apparel manufacturer.
And again, we should point out for this NFL Combine that it's not just for the clubs to see how good and fit and strong and fast these college players are, but the big shoe companies and sponsors like that, they keep a very close eye on it too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they say, well, we'll keep an eye on this bloke.
That's right. So anyway, Adidas offered, how's this for a bit of PR marketing, to buy an island to any player who broke the Combine record.
An actual
island. Real island.
Did they say which island?
No.
I
think it's Tasmania.
I think it's Phillip Island.
Phillip Island.
So, bad luck you didn't get drafted, but you can go see the Penguins.
What's the worst island you can be given?
Wearing an Adidas tracksuit. Yeah.
I remember reading in this magazine once in New York, there was this piece of real estate. You could buy your own island it was sort of in part of the harbour or something. But the catch was the island was often covered in high tide and covered in broken bottles, and had once been a laboratory testing place for animal diseases or something.
Yeah,
but it still was because it's a piece of
New
York real estate. It was going to go for some crazy amount.
It's not exactly Richard Branson's place in the Caribbean.
No, so it might have been that island. But anyway, they said that whoever broke it had to be wearing Adidas shoes. Now, John Ross actually ran 4.22, which beat by
0.2 of a second.
Of a second, actually beat Chris Johnson's record. But he was wearing Nikes, so no island.
No island for you, JR.
So
jeez, he'd want to get drafted now.
Well, also, what are Nike offering him?
Maybe,
a better island.
Maybe an entire continent.
A beefer. Yeah. So that was the thing. So now that's getting really crazy when sports companies are giving away
an island for the kid who can run fastest.
I tell you, when people would get excited if they offered a 2-bedroom home in inner city or in Sydney. That's worth a lot more than an island.
Yeah, and it will appreciate too.
You can buy several islands for that. Now, Serge, we've been mentioning giving a lot of. We bag athletes a lot for being stupid.
Yes, basically.
And that's why we have a lot of material most weeks. But fans can be incredibly stupid too.
Oh, fans of all sports.
We often don't focus enough on how dumb fans can be.
I mean, in Australia, but in NRL, AFL, soccer, A-League, fans, get up to all sorts of things. But this one's not bad. This one's a good
one. So Crystal Palace in the Premier League over in England, their supporters were on a bit of a tear last week, and they were playing Middlesbrough. So they before the game, they see a bus, which they assume is the Middlesbrough bus.
The team bus.
The Middlesbrough team bus. And so they go up and they spray paint it all over Crystal Palace FC in red, white and blue paint across the sides and the back of the vehicle.
Right.
So it's just covered in Crystal Palace. Anyway, they find out later on that it's actually their own team bus.
So they've vandalised their own bus.
Vandalised their own team bus.
Well, have they vandalised it or just made it a bit more identifiable?
Well, this is one of those really expensive buses. It's not and they've just spray painted. Anyway, the head groundsman of Crystal Palace, Dean Waters, he condemned them, and he said £40,000 worth of damage to our coach, thinking it was a Borough coach. Nice one. Is that the dumbest thing you've heard fans do in a while?
That's like that old joke of the guy who went to the drive-in and he hated the movie so much he slashed the seats. In his own car. Yeah.
Where did you get that joke from?
I don't know.
Was that one of your original work from when you were doing vaudeville?
Working with Roy Reen.
It was the one you always mentioned you used to do, you used to perform with. I can't remember now. Anyway. Really, we've so far referenced... Who do we reference as Ava Gardner?
And On the Beach.
So we're really up with what the kids are listening to. It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
we got to really update our references.
Yeah, I think we bagged Justin Bieber the other day.
Oh, the kids will really.
Yeah,
I think he's past it now, hasn't he?
Yeah, that offsets Ava Gardner and Roy Ream.
Roy Ream.
Mo.
If you don't know who those people are, go and Google them.
Hey,
Ava Gardner dated Frank Sinatra.
I think she was married to Frank Sinatra for a while. I think, Ava had a pretty good crack at it as far as
weddings. I think she's married a few times.
Yeah.
Hated Melbourne though.
She could have had one of her weddings here.
You weren't married to her, were you?
No. It was just a fling.
Now, listeners' questions. We've got a few. Once again, we did screen for Mitch Marsh.
Yeah, I think we've got rid of most of the Mitch Marsh ones from these final listeners' questions.
Timothy Byrne wrote in, at what age do you feel that a Collingwood supporter becomes irretrievably lost to civilised society?
Oh, Timmy, something's happened to Tim involving a Collingwood supporter, I reckon.
He's not a happy man. Now, considering I'm doing a couple of gigs with Dane Swan coming up.
Yes.
Second show on sale now. Because I'm doing that, I'm worried that there'll be a room full of Collingwood supporters. So I'll say they're never lost to us.
Well,
there's always a chance they could convert.
I was driving home one night and saw a bloke in a Collingwood jumper just standing there, just pissing on the front door of a house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then when he finished, he got his keys out and went in.
Is that from where your last joke was from? It's the Sergio Paradise 1940s.
This is the vaudeville
materials being dragged out.
We really need the guy doing the voiceover, like the cinema tone.
Wait till
newsreel.
You've got some cutting edge Hitler jokes coming up. So Timothy, we all know that Collingwood supporters are pretty much lost to us.
Just a while on Collingwood, the final round of the JLT this week.
Yeah,
they're playing Richmond in Maui.
Right.
Is that just got potential written all over it?
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Did you see their netball team lost another game?
Who, the Pies?
The Pies.
Oh, did they? Who did they lose to this week?
Oh, I can't remember. I just saw the result and I saw them saying, just because we've lost the second one, because they were favourites to win, right? They've pretty much got the Australian side, but they've lost twice now.
Yeah,
and they're saying, two losses is no reason to panic. And I thought, it's not that different across the different sports.
Oh, no. They'll be calling for the coach's head soon.
Collingwood are flying right now across all their sports. Gavin McDonald wrote in, what had Mount Gambier done wrong to deserve Richmond and Port Adelaide playing a game there?
That's a fair question.
I
didn't see any of this game.
Didn't you?
No, apparently the best thing to come out of this game is that Richmond supporters are now up and about, which is even better because it makes the disappointment even more savage. Well,
it's the right time for them to be up and about, really. If you're going to be excited, this is the time. Port Adelaide looked terrible.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Well, this is the thing. Koshi's worried about the Gold Coast Suns jumper winning over. I mean, the way Port play is not going to win over anyone.
Well, you look at their side on paper, and as I say, I didn't watch the game, but I looked at the teams yesterday morning. I thought, geez, it's like all these JLT games. They're not playing every good player on their list, but it looked like a pretty shallow list, talent-wise, at Port. I reckon they're going to battle this year.
Well, that's where it will start to come into about if they struggle, Hinkley's in the gun. But you've got to start saying about Koshi. Yeah. How much like distraction of things like China and like non-footy things.
Yeah. Although you find that high-profile chairmen tend to stick around, tend to last longer than losing coaches.
Well, that is true. It's much better to be the chair than the coach.
Yeah.
The chair...
Because the chair
has to lose a lot of money.
Blame the coach.
The AFL pretty much have to sack you as chair.
Yeah.
That's really the only way that... And that you have to lose money.
Or move him to Brisbane. Why don't they get rid of Kochi and move him to chair of the Gold Coast?
Oh, we couldn't do that to them. The thing I like about this thing about Kochi worrying about the jumper that he's still going on about is that jumper hasn't even won over the Gold Coast. Let alone
the world's largest population.
Yeah, so listen, They're the 18th in memberships, the Suns, so they can't even win over their own home ground.
And you know it's going to look really forlorn at this game. They'll have one of those little membership tents next to the ground trying to sell it to the Chinese. Good luck with that.
It's just going to be expats. It's going to be like the Battle of Britain used to be.
Yeah, it'll be full of Australians who work in Hong Kong and Macau will say, let's shoot over to Beijing or Shanghai for the weekend. We'll just get on it and watch some footy.
I'll be interested to see how many people go.
Yeah. We're going. We're going to do the podcast from there. As soon as we can get it.
We just need
a sponsor.
We need a sponsor.
We need Kochi. You can get
if anyone out
Sunrise.
there wants to sponsor us to go to China.
Yeah, we'll wear anyone's bad T-shirts. We'll do that.
We're huge fans of China. Now, Tony Tont. We're cracking the names.
Tony Tont.
We're cracking the names today. There's good names.
Is it, yeah, that's surely he shortened it name.
You think?
Yeah, I think. What was Tony Tonto? Tonto. He's shortened it to Tont. As you would.
He said Brendan Bolton was apparently happy with Carlton piling on 1 goal, 2 behinds after half time. How will he cope if they have a 2-goal quarter at some stage this season?
I like the phrasing of that. Piling on 1 goal, 2 after half time.
I think that's not something we need to watch. That's not something we really need to worry about. Them scoring 2 goals.
Look, I did watch this game, and I know Carlton had 7 kids out there. They played 7 kids who'd never played a senior AFL game.
Yeah.
So they were always going to be up against it.
Better.
Yeah, they actually showed a bit. There are other players, I tell you, they are going to struggle this year, Carlton. And then you watched Geelong yesterday. Who were Geelong's 2 best players yesterday? Tui and Henderson. Once again, Carlton are just, and Eddie Betts will probably kick 5 in the first round.
They're the greatest nursery in the AFL for other teams. Yeah. But the thing here is they did have a lot out and people really overreact.
Yeah.
What I found most surprising when they played Melbourne is how many times they were just standing around doing absolutely nothing.
Well, I heard Dermot Brereton on the radio the other day say he was talking to a couple of the Melbourne players after that game and they actually said to him, Carlton looked more disorganised than ever out there. He said the Melbourne players said but they had no system. They didn't know what they were doing. He said
so that's just a recipe now for Carlton to beat Melbourne.
Oh, well,
he doesn't know that's going to happen
Melbourne,
now.
Guaranteed will be 0-2 now. Because St Kilda, can never beat St Kilda.
And St Kilda looked good yesterday.
Yeah, they didn't have much to beat, but they did look good. When Josh Bruce is kicking 7 goals and Jack Billings was on fire yesterday.
Paddy McCartney took
he's starting to come
12
good.
Marks.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're talking up St Kilda a bit too much, just like we are about Melbourne. They'll come a cropper at some stage, but
I never really talk up Melbourne because
did you reckon that St Kilda Melbourne round 1 is just about game of the round, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's the two premiership favourites squaring off.
The 2 JLT series powerhouse clubs.
I just can't handle if we lose that.
Oh, I'm fully expecting to lose it.
That said, we lose it, and it's a long season. This is the mistake everyone makes. They get excited in the JLT, but it's a long season. It's a grind, and you just want to be in the best spot on the starting grid for the finals. You just want your spot in preferably the top 6.
Yeah, and the other certainty for round 1 is that Carlton will beat Richmond, probably. Because Carlton have not even looked like getting the score on the board.
Well, the surprise storylines would be if Collingwood and Richmond both do well.
Yeah.
Because everyone's expecting both of those coaches to be gone.
Collingwood have got Western Bulldogs round 1, I think.
Right.
Haven't they? So, which would be a tough game, you would think.
But that would be interesting if they both did well. Carlton, everyone's expecting... I think a lot of people are expecting Carlton to be a bit better with Bolton, like what he did last year. But they were terrible for the second half. They did nothing the second half of the season.
They beat Melbourne in about round 20, 21.
Well, when our finals were on the line.
Yeah.
But they do have Liam Jones, so they are building.
Oh, that's true. And he took a good mark. I think it was his only touch, but it was a good grab.
Colin McDonald wrote in, why do people that complain about the AFL women's games being too low scoring still watch Carlton's men's games?
It's a very good point. Yeah, that's almost not a question, but just a really good statement of fact. Hey, you know what I'm looking forward to for the AFL women's?
Yeah.
Their Mad Monday. I reckon it's only a few weeks away.
We've had Mona Hope caught.
She's already caught speeding.
So they're starting to get there.
But you reckon they'll dress up like the Geelong?
I hope so.
They'll do it with some style, hopefully.
I hope that. I just want them to be. Well, one thing I've really liked about the AFL women's is they can't sing the club songs well either.
Any better than the men.
They're just as bad as the men.
But I will.
They butcher it with equal gusto.
Do want to see their Mad Monday. One of the girls dressing up as, say, Jimmy Bartell or something like that.
Someone's got to crack someone.
Until
a teammate hits a teammate or something.
It won't be real footy. They won't be fully accepted unless somebody gets glassed.
What glasses their boyfriend.
On Mad Monday.
And then it gets a high-paying Channel 7 gig. Adrian Truslove has written...
That's so bizarre. I think it is his actual real name. Yeah.
Given that Brisbane has named Dane Beams as captain, who do you see being the on-field leader this year?
That's a good little whack.
That's a drive-by whack.
That's a drive-by whack.
I like that.
And a good one. I do like that. So I see Adrian as probably a disgruntled Collingwood supporter who's never forgiven Beamsy for heading north.
Or a Brisbane supporter who's just well aware of what's happened up there.
What have they got against Zorko up there? I reckon he was a walk-up start to be the captain this year.
I don't know. I think
he's a vice captain.
You know what was funny is their coach said Beams was the first person to ring him. Fagan was the first person to ring him.
He's only player on the list with his number.
when he was appointed, he said the first person to ring me was
Dane Beams.
I'm like, is it that easy?
That's how you do it.
Just ring the coach.
I think it's Jack Viney did the same with Simon Goodwin. As soon as they announced that there was a succession plan from Roos to Goodwin, Jack Viney straight on the blower.
It's not a bad idea.
I'll tell you, there's a tip for all players next year.
Yeah.
Ring the coach, you get the captaincy.
That's the way. What a suck. Imagine that.
There's a phrase you don't hear enough about.
No, that's right.
Well, you did it when you were at school. And always to successful,
maybe
smart
Zorko's
kids.
not a
suck.
Maybe he's not a good bloke on Zorko. Maybe that's what he doesn't fit in the good.
Not.
Did you see they said about the Marshes? Just to bring the Marshes up again. Mitchell Johnson came out and wrote a column explaining why they keep getting picked.
Oh, I didn't see that.
This?
No, I didn't see that.
So I went on to read it because I thought, well, this will be interesting. There'll be some statistical analysis or basically that the players, the other options are not quite there yet. Yeah. They don't want to expose them. I thought here's Mitchell Johnson.
There'll be an insight. There'll be something that cricketers, elite cricketers see in them that you and I don't.
Either that or there's some longer term plan or that while they can't do this. And so I read in this article expecting some ray of light of thing. And he says basically the reason they keep getting picked is the fact that they're really good blokes and great to have on the team.
Right.
And I was like, so he says they provide a lot of and I kind of get this because everyone's got someone at work who everyone knows is basically not very good, but they actually...
He's a good bloke.
They make the office more fun to work in or they don't put anyone's nose out of joint or something, right? And so that does happen, I know, but it's kind of amazing that he didn't even, this is one of their former teammates, didn't even put up a defence on any way on cricketing skill
or ability. Yeah.
So basically you could pick any Australian who's just a really great person and people like.
Yeah.
Cricket ability is I didn't know this was a potential position in cricket.
But given the fact that the Marsh brothers are now being declared good blokes, quote unquote, can we expect them to next year or the year after? One of them will be running Auskick and one will be in charge of the match review panel. They'll be straight to the AFL on a highly paid contract.
But maybe
when good blokes.
Maybe when they're talking about an all-rounder, they mean an all-round good bloke.
All-round good fella. Yeah,
it's not an all-rounder in terms of cricket sense. No. That's where we're reading it wrong as fans. But I didn't know that there was a couple of spots in the Australian cricket team available at all times for people who people like. A popularity contest.
It used to be, 4 batsmen, 5 specialist batsmen, 4 bowlers, a wicketkeeper and an all-rounder. Now they've ditched the all-rounder.
Well, it's all-round good bloke.
It's all-round good bloke.
So this should be a reality.
From top to bottom.
This should be the reality TV show. Because people don't even need to have played cricket.
Nah. Cricketing good blokes.
Because you could bowl 2 overs and go out for a duck.
All-round good bloke would be a good name for a TV show.
But you could get a duck, go out for a duck and bowl 2 overs.
Oh, easily. I could be... I could go out LBW to that grubber that Mitch Marsh got just as well as he did.
Your problem is you never want to go to India.
Problem is nobody would vote me in as a good bloke.
Yeah, that's right. You fall down on a few things there. Rod Anir wrote, what is the ambient temperature range that is ideal for Bernard Tomic's game?
Well, we know what the upper level is.
Yeah, we know 27 is hot. Searingly hot for you.
Yeah, that's far too hot.
I wonder if he's got it's too cold.
Well, he's an Eastern European background, so he'd be used to, snow on the ground.
Yeah, you think he'd handle the cold better than the heat?
Unexploded, missiles.
Tennis is not the sport to pick if you don't like heat.
Well, no, not especially in the Grand Slams. If you've got to play,
it tends to be a summer sport.
Yeah,
I've noted.
Yeah.
Not a lot gets past me.
So Rod Anir used to play for Richmond? Or was that a different Rod Anir?
We'll have to look see if it matches. Ronan wrote in.
You're not even going to try his surname, are you?
Well, no, I can do his surname. O'Donoghue.
O'Donoghue.
I'm assuming the B in the middle, which is DONNABHAIN. I'm assuming the B is silent.
Is that Irish or Welsh? Not enough. Probably not enough consonants for Welsh.
It's too short for Welsh.
It's too short.
So I think it's O'Donoghue. Let us know, Ronan, if I got that right, because if I got that right, it's the first time I've ever got a surname right.
True.
My pronunciation of surnames, it's the fact that I don't even try that makes it so special. He's asked, when is a question not a question?
Well, that's a good question. No, that's
I tell you when. Every question ever asked on Q&A.
Yeah, that's true.
Where it's someone just showing off that they've I've read a book, or, that's basically... That show... Are you a Q&A viewer?
No, I can't stand Q&A.
Nah.
It's just... It's like idiots, extremists from both sides screeching at each other. I just can't be bothered with it. The main reason, it's not that. Every time I've ever watched it, I've never walked away from that show thinking, A, I'd learnt something, or B, somebody actually made a really good point. I can't remember that ever happening on Q&A.
I feel Q&A to me is like going to a really bad dinner party.
True.
With a bunch of people you don't really like, and they all just give their, and you have to sit there. And what I do at dinner parties like that, and I don't get invited, luckily.
Well, I was about to say, when was the last time you actually went to a dinner party?
Same time where a lot of your material comes from today.
It was the black and white era.
But have you ever, I think the majority of people fall into this thing where someone gives a really strong opinion, and they're like, whatever, it can be left or right side of politics. Most Australians, a lot of us, we just go, right. Yeah. We don't respond because you go, I can't even be bothered. Yeah. I don't care and you never see two people at a dinner party argue with each other and one of them halfway through goes, you know what? You've changed my mind on this. You've turned me around. I think you're right. And that's what Q&A is to me. Yeah. Like no one ever goes, oh, you know what? That's actually,
they're full of those people that you hate. People, if you go up to them and you go, how are you? And they tell you. It'd be a
lot better if the environment wasn't.
And they actually tell you. There's nothing worse than seeing run into someone. Oh yeah, good. How are you going? And then they tell you.
Yeah. See, there's two proper responses to how are you. Good, thanks.
Yeah.
That's like what most is. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good.
Or what do you care?
I wasn't thinking that's a bit more aggressive. No wonder you're not seen as a good bloke. Or you tell someone how you are if you've got a cracking story.
Yeah.
That's like something really bad's happened to you or something. Yeah. You got to have a good story to get. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like...
Yeah, what's been going on? I went surfing the other day and I fought off a shark. That's an acceptable response.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got bit by a shark is an even better one.
Yeah, but not, I'm feeling down, I've got a few back problems and, I'm not sleeping that well.
No one cares.
No, I don't
I'm just really tired at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't care. You're not happy with your life. I don't care.
No wonder your wife doesn't talk to you much anymore.
So, Ronan, when is a question not a question? That's a bit like, what's another word for thesaurus, isn't it?
Now, we should mention we're on Thursday.
Yep.
Now, we've got a couple of guests lined up potentially.
We do.
They could both fall over due to their schedules. So if not, we're still going.
Unlike us, they both have busy schedules and lives. Yeah, they have jobs.
We're still going to do the podcast regardless. So we might have some news about that coming up. We've got a few other guests lined up for later weeks. We had a great reaction last week to the couple of podcasts we did. So thank everyone who's getting on us. We had a lot of people go on and rate us on iTunes.
Yeah, I noticed that. Good on you.
People who did that. And thank you.
We appreciate that.
Again, to everyone.
Is it just us, or do iTunes never put on like really nasty,
No,
reviews?
they do.
We've had a couple.
We've got generally
positive. That's what I'm saying. Do they censor the ones that...
No.
Like, just the ones that we get on Twitter? Like from Rhombus Isotope, who's starting to stalk me a little bit.
I think we're in that lucky bit where people either like us or don't know who we are or care. Someone said to me today, I can't find the tweet, but apologies to whoever it was because I did laugh when they sent it to me. They said that they saw a poster of my comedy festival show with Dane Swan, and they saw this is their words, they saw two hipsters looking at it, and one hipster said, who's Titus A. Riley? And the other one looked at him and said, who's Dane Swan?
That pretty much sums the whole thing up.
I felt a bit better after that.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing better than that.
I had the embarrassing thing the other day, though. I bumped into someone I knew, and as I was talking to them, they did that thing of their phone ringing. And I said, because sometimes you don't mind. So I said, I'll get it if you need to get it, So they said, I do need to get it. It's a work thing. So I said, all right. So while I'm there, they answer it. And they said, oh, my mate's a massive sports fan. I'll tell him I'm chatting to you.
Right.
And I said, oh, right. So he gets on the phone and says, guess what? And the guy says, what? He says, I'm here with, you'll never guess who I'm here with. I'm here with Titus O'Reilly. And the guy, I can hear it over the phone, goes, who? I said, sorry, I don't know him. I thought, how good is that? That's just...
I've got one very similar to that. Many years ago, when I worked with Eddie Maguire, we decided to go out for lunch one day. We go to the Stoke House. When we walk in, who do we run into? Sam Newman and Steve Vizard.
Right.
So I was like, we all sit together. So the four of us sitting there. And halfway through, I heard a guy at the next table go, geez, have a look at that table, will you? Eddie Maguire, Sam Newman, Steve Vizard, and some other expletive. I think you know which one it was.
Oh, that really brings you down.
Vizard actually said, I'm going to get business cards printed for you that just says some other.
Now, we've got to pick a question of the week, Sergio. I think it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn to pick, is it?
Yeah, I did last week. And I like when you pick because then no one can get angry at me.
I think I'm going to go with Double Barrel Baz, Barry.
Oh, yes.
When Michael Clark suggested that one batting strategy is going for sneaky twos, was that Matt Renshaw's plan at Pune?
I knew that would appeal to you.
Yeah, I think that was quite clever.
Well done, Barry. You got to pick a Serge or a Titus week and sort of try and get your question to
aim in that regard. So Barry, but you only get one T-shirt.
The man's so nice, they named him twice. All right, well, we'll see you all on Thursday. And remember, next week, Tuesday instead of Monday because of the public holiday in Victoria. And jump online at titusoreilly.com and become a supporter. We really appreciate it.
We do indeed.
See you next week.